My name's Matt Lawhead. I'm a police officer at Richland Township Police Department. I was right out of college, went through the police academy, and got hired here. It was 2002. This is my second police job. I was in Montgomery County in a little borough that borders Philadelphia before that for about 8 months. What made me become a police officer is, it sounds kind of it's like a really corny story, but I was 8 years old. And the big thing when my brother and I were younger was on nice days, if we got all of our homework done after school early, my mom would let me and my brother sit on our front lawn and wait for my dad to come home. We lived on a main road. It was a nice spring day. We're sitting on the front lawn and my dad came in, he waved to us, and as he made the left, somebody blew the red light going the other direction and hit him. So it was a real bad collision. He was pushed down a while. And I'll never forget the first officer that showed up, ran over and stuck his head in the car, make sure he was all right. He was pinned in the car. Made sure he was all right, and he came over and he saw me and my brother and he scooped us both up, ran in the backyard, and he sat and played in the sandbox with us for like an hour and 20 minutes while they took care of my dad. And I'm like, wow, I remember how awesome that felt. I'm like, that was, and it sounds so corny to say it, but the most awesome feeling in the world was how something as terrifying as that, this guy made life so much easier for my brother and I never forgot it. And I was 8 years old and decided this is what I wanted to do. There's a million different directions you can do. I mean, there's every department's different as far as what requirements they are. I was like a pretty standard way. I finished high school. I'm not going to tell you a year, but I finished the high school. From that, I did 4 years of college at Delaware Valley University in Doylestown. I got my bachelor's degree in criminal justice administration. I finished there in, I guess it was July 1st, I started the police academy. I went through the interview process to get accepted in. And then I graduated there in January and I was on the street in March. So it was very quick for me. I didn't have a lot of downtime in between, but for me it was college and the police academy right out of high school. And that's how I got here. I mean, there's a bunch of guys here that either did 4 years in the military and they got out of the military and they went right in, they took a test. There's guys that had took other routes. There's guys, this is a second career, 45, 50-year-old guys decide they don't want to be printers or whatever like that, and they decide they want to do this. And the reality is you show up on the day they give a test, and if you take a test and you get last through, it's like a written test and then there's a bunch of interviews. If you can score high enough and get yourself in front of a panel and sell yourself, you can get hired. So I took the standard route. A lot of people don't do that. There's different ways you can do it, but that was my way. The main requirement in Pennsylvania is the police academy. It actually gets longer every year. When I went through, it was just shy of 6 months. It was like full-time. It was like a full-time job, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. A lot of guys like me, I paid to go like it was college. Like it was like another addition to college. So I had to work. I worked full-time afterwards. So I'd go to school at the academy in Conshohocken till 4 o'clock, and then I was at Montgomery County Juvenile Detention Center from 4:30 until midnight. Then I come home and study and start all over again. But the police academy is a real main requirement in the state that people ask they have to have, and that's everything from written schoolwork, like no different than sitting in a high school class, to driving, to firearms, to all the medical classes. It just kind of enthralls a little bit of everything, and then once you get through that, you just try to get a job. I like this kind of stuff. I mean, I have to be honest with you, it's a tough political climate right now. It's a tough time to be in this job. It's a lot different than when I started. When I first started, it was post 9/11. So, and you probably don't remember that because I don't know if you were born yet, but the reality is post 9/11, you couldn't go anywhere without people running up to your car saying, thank you, we love having you here, thank you so much for everything. You couldn't go into a restaurant without 3 or 4 different people fighting over your bill. Like, people loved us. And now, you know, the tables have turned a little bit different where I go out and do my job, no matter what I do, people are pulling their cell phone cameras out waiting for me to do something even quasi-questionable that they can to rework it. So I love to be able to do this kind of stuff. I like people to see that I'm a normal guy. I love the Boy Scout troops when they come through. I love it when I give station tours. That's my niche. Aside from that, I'm a field training officer here. So every time we get rookies in, they ride around with me for a couple months, which is awesome. Then I can kind of like, you mold them right out of the police academy. It's like somebody gets right out of school and now all of a sudden they're ready to go, and you realize when you get out in the car for the first time, you have no idea what you're doing. And then I'm also assigned to a county SWAT team as a hostage negotiator. So I've been doing that for 6 or 7 years, and that's been awesome because the training is like nothing you could ever imagine. So we've dealt with all the FBI agents from like major cases. They'll come out and they'll teach you about either standoffs or like the Maersk, Alabama, when the pirates overtook that ship. Like we talked to that FBI guy, and all these major cases, like major things, you get to learn all about it. The Orlando shooting, when that nightclub, the Pulse nightclub, got shot up, the FBI agent that was on the phone with that guy for hours was in there, and you could learn firsthand. So having been involved with that SWAT team in that capacity, that's awesome, because you talk to anybody, whether you're talking to a high school student doing a project to somebody who just murdered 18 people and is just looking for a way out. So, and being able to switch back and forth and be able to communicate on that level is awesome. So that's my favorite part of this.